Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a very simple recipe which is pizza. I am going to first show you all how I make the sauce to put on top of the pizza base. The ingredients are I will use a splash of olive oil and a small onions that I grated and 3 large tomatoes that was also grated and half a cup of tomato puree, 4 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of Italian herbs. I've got my frying pan preheated on moderate heat and I'm just going to put a little splash of olive oil just to fry out my onions. This is going to be a very simple pizza, but as usual you can decide whatever you need to add on the topping of your pizza base. You can go for some pineapple, pear, and if it's non-vegetarian you can use chicken. The onions has browned up lovely. You can see there's not very much of oil because you wouldn't like to have your oil seeping into your base. And I'm going to put in my Italian herbs with my garlic to fry a little. And then I'll throw in my grated tomatoes. It's left entirely to you how you like to top your base up. Most of them top their base up with only sauces. Add in my salt. And I allow this to cook for about 10 minutes. While my sauce is getting ready, I am preparing myself for my pizza base. This is 1 cup of flour that I soaked, all-purpose flour. Then I have half a teaspoon of salt to go in, half a teaspoon origanum, 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. This dough will only make 1 pizza, but if you all like more than 1 pizza, you can just add whatever is put in. Correction, it was 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I will mix all these ingredients together and gradually I've got half cup of water, so I will use this water gradually in. We need to make a dough that's not sticky and not hard. So I've got all the flour covered up. Now I'm going to form it into a dough.
So you didn't use all the water, you used part of it, but you were just judging the dough
With
consistency.
half a cup of water.
Okay.
And then I have some spare flour, which I'm going to use to dough. I prefer using my hand. This dough had to be a little sticky. You can just dust a little flour if you feel you cannot handle it. Then the dough is done. This is your dough for the pizza. My tomatoes are finely cooked. I'm going to add in my half a cup of puree. Stir it well. I tasted my tomato base. Just for the acid, I'm going to put just a pinch of sugar to it. My easy sauce for my pizza base is done. I'm going to switch off my stove and start to make my dough for the pizza. But in the meantime, I'm making the dough. I'm going to put my oven on to 150 for preheating. Now I'm ready to roll out my pizza dough. I've dusted my surface. I'm using the counter today. Pizza dough can be rolled into a square or round. It's left entirely to you how you like your pizza to be. You can also make your pizza dough with yeast, but some of them don't like the smell of yeast. If you like your base rolled out thinly or not too thin, it's left to you. This is looking like a good size of pizza. Okay, this is looking a good size. I've sprayed my oven tray with my spray and cook. I'm going to place it in my oven tray. Then I'm going to use a fork to just make some holes. Just place it flat onto the oven tray and get my fork out and just poke it. This is how it will look before going into the oven. Now I'm going to push this in the oven for about 15 minutes. Usually you can make this base pre-cooked, or you can go straight for topping it and then putting it into the oven, but I prefer pre-cooking it. So I put it in the oven for 15 minutes. Now my dough is pre-cooked and I'm ready to do the topping. After the topping, this will go back into the oven for another 15 minutes and then it will cook completely. But you all have to be very careful keeping an eye on the heat of your people's ovens. Don't let it to over get brown. For the topping of the pizza, I have my cooked tomato sauce, and I have 250 grams of mushroom that I fried out, and I have sliced tomatoes. When placing, I will add its pepper and salt to it, and then I have a little bit of crumbled feta, and then the cheese. I'm going to start off with the tomato. I'm going to smear it very thinly. As I said, you can have any topping to your pizza. It's left entirely to you. I will sprinkle in my cheese. Then my tomatoes. A squeeze of pepper and salt for the tomatoes. And then my feta. Now my pizza is ready. I'm going to put it back into the oven for another 15 minutes till all the cheese melt and we have a quick meal for lunch. And my cheese is all melted, so I'm going to just take my pizza off the oven. There you go, a lovely meal. We are going to cut it out and serve it. Very simple. Here you go, the pizza is ready to eat. There's a little something that I want to say my viewers. When my children were little, I used to make 3 pizzas and each one wanted their own different types of topping, and they used to eat 1 pizza each. I would like all of y'all to enjoy it. Thank you very much.